Hey guys, so I tried to do my muscle naming video and it didn't work, so I'm going to do it again, and this time you get to see me. So let's see what we can do on the naming muscles video. Hopefully this will clear up any confusion on that now that I'm going to get this done. Alright. Here we go, hang on. We'll do blue today. Okay, so let's talk about muscles and how we name them. This should help you in lab. It's kind of a lab video. I did some of it in class. I tried to record it. It didn't work, so here we go. So remember what we said. What do muscles do? Muscles move bones. That's their primary action. Remember, a muscle contracts. It always pulls on a bone. It never pushes. So anytime a muscle shortens, it contracts. It will pull something, but it will never push. So for example, in your arm, your biceps brachii, when it contracts, it pulls your forearm up. Your triceps brachii pulls your arm back down. Your biceps doesn't push your arm back down. Okay, when we talk about muscles, we can group them based on their function and their location. You know, I like to group stuff. So we're gonna group them on their location or their function. When we talk about muscles, we're going to talk about what they're called, their name. We're going to talk about their origin, their insertion. We're going to talk about what they do. And we're going to talk about some of the innervation, how it's being stimulated by a nerve. Before we get started, let's just see what you already know. Remember, we did this in class, so we'll just do a few more examples for those of you who weren't there. When you look at a muscle name, a lot of times it tells you something before you even realize it. Okay, you know more about it than you think you do. Let's look at the temporalis muscle. Temporalis, that tells us it's in the temporal region, over that temporal bone. So that muscle's named based on its location. We have muscles that are based on what they do. Let me find one. Hang on just a second. The flexor carpi radialis. Okay, we know carpi or carpi is in the wrist. Radialis, that must be the radius in the forearm. Flexor means to flex. So this is a muscle that's named based on its action, to flex. And carpi or radialis is location. Sometimes a muscle is based on its shape. The deltoid is named based on shape. Deltoid, or delta, is a triangle, and it's a triangle-shaped muscle right here. So we'll do these more in lab, and I'll do a few more here in just a second. But that just gives you an idea. When you look at these muscles, look for the clue that the name's telling you. It's either telling you what it does, where it is, what shape it is. All kind of clues are in these names. Okay. Not only do we decide or group skeletal muscle on location, we group them based on their function. Some muscles are called prime movers. Okay, they are basically if a bunch of muscles work together, okay, one of them is in charge. So for example, your quadriceps, that's the muscles in your leg, in your upper leg, they all work together to help you walk, but one of them is the prime mover. It kind of does the most work. It's in control. And when a group of muscles works together, they're called synergists. When muscles work together, we call those synergists. Now, antagonists are muscles that work in opposite directions or do opposite movements. Example, the biceps and triceps. The biceps flex the muscle, the triceps extend. Or flex the joint, brings the forearm to the arm, and the triceps extend the joint. Synergist, again, they work together. Allows you to have more force. Okay? Example, your quadriceps, your shoulder muscles. We have lots of muscles in our shoulders. If I want to pick up something, like just barely pick up my arm, it takes a few of these muscles. If I want to pick up something heavy, I need to recruit more muscles to work together. They're synergists. Sometimes a muscle is just a fixator. It's a stabilizer. It's a stabilizer muscle, like our posture muscles. When I'm standing here, my muscles are moving just a little bit in my back and in my abdomen, keeping me erect and in my upright position. Now, origins and insertions. You're going to talk about these in lab. These are attachment sites. That's where the muscle attaches to a bone. The origin and the insertion. The origin is the non-moving end of a muscle. Okay? So it's the part that stays put, doesn't move. The insertion is the moving end of the bone. Okay? So example in my biceps. The origin's up here. We'll talk about specifically where later. Here's the origin. The insertion's in the lower part of my arm. I don't know if you can see me. I'm not far enough back from the camera. This is the part that moves, the bottom part, the distal part. That would be the insertion, the end of the muscle that's actually shortening as the muscle contracts. Okay, so let's go back to naming. When we name those muscles, there's some very specific clues we're looking for. Location. It's named based on the body or bone or body region, like the rectus femoris. That means it's named based on the bone, the femur bone. It can be named on shape, like the deltoid. The deltoid is a triangle. Another one would be the trapezius. Okay, the trapezius is basically a trapezoid shape. It's on your back. The soleus is named because it looks like a fish, the flounder, the sole or the flat fish. It can be named on relative size. It could be big or little, small or large. I mean, small or short, big or large, large or small. So maximus would be the largest. Minimus would be the smallest. Longus would be long. Brevis would be short. What else? Greater, lesser. Anything that looks like big and little, short and long. Those are some other relative size determination or relative size words. Sometimes you look at fiber direction. When we go in the lab, you look at the muscles, you're going to see distinct lines, the way the fibers of the muscle cells run, these fascicles, those bundles of muscle cells. And the way those run gives you the name sometimes. If you see the word rectus, that means it's straight. If you see transverse, those fibers run across. You see the word oblique, that means they run at an angle. So those are some clues. For example, in your abdominal muscles, you have some obliques. You've probably crunched and done your obliques. Those fibers actually run at an angle. You have the transverse abdominis. They run straight across. You have the rectus abdominis, and those are fibers that run straight up and down. So that tells you something about direction, which direction these muscles are lying. Sometimes you want to look at number of origins. Okay, remember that's the part that doesn't move. In the biceps, it has 2 origins. Bi means 2 heads, basically. Triceps, 3 heads, has 3 origins. Sometimes you're not looking at origin or insertion, you're just looking where it attaches. Where does it attach to your body? The sternocleidomastoideus is named solely on its attachment. Don't worry about which one's the insertion, which one's the origin. What you're looking at is where does it attach. So this is a little man, okay? The sternocleidomastoideus is a Y-shaped muscle, comes down and kind of does like that. It attaches at the sternum, which is your breastbone, the clavicle or your collarbone, and the mastoid process behind your ear. So sternocleidomastoideus. Sometimes you name a muscle based on what it does, its action. It may be a flexor, flexomuscle, extensor. It could be an adductor. Remember bringing something which way? To the midline. It could be an abductor. Which way? Away from the midline, like you abduct somebody, take them away. It could be a depressor, like lowering my jaw. A levator, raising something. There's a levator ani. It helps to hold up the pelvic floor. It holds up the pelvic floor. You have rotators, like in your shoulder. You have sphincter muscles, which are basically round muscles. These always close an opening. Like example, the muscles around your eyes. Those are sphincter muscles. When you blink, you close that opening. You have tensors. A lot of times those are postural type muscles, like just kind of tense up. Supinators and pronators. Remember, if you turn your hand down toward the ground, that's pronation. Turn it back up, it's supination. So again, those are action names. When we look at muscles, one of the things you want to look at is how their fascicles, or those fibers, what they look like, how are they arranged, because that tells you something about what it does. If you have circular fibers, they're in a circle, those are usually some kind of a sphincter. Either convergent, they all go to a single place, they all go toward a single insertion. That will tell you something. Let me go to that picture. Hang on. Okay, here we go. So we have circular, like in a sphincter. These are convergent. This is in your pectoralis muscle, kind of in your chest. Think about bringing your arms together and all those fibers contracting at the same time to bring your shoulders together. They may be parallel, just long and skinny. They may be bipinnate, which means they go in two directions, and actually it looks like a feather. There's one of those in your quadriceps. Almost looks like a feather. Sometimes it looks like there's a bunch of muscles connected. This is called multipinnate. It actually looks like more than one muscle, but it's just one muscle. It's just got different sections. And this one's actually the deltoid. And so think about those different fiber directions. That allows different direction of movement. Think about how many ways your deltoid can go. You can go up and down and front and back. So there's different fiber directions that allow you to do those different movements. So sometimes looking at the fiber direction will give you a hint as to what kind of muscle it is and what it does. Okay, now the way a muscle works, it is just a lever. Okay, just think about just a lever. The bone is the lever, okay, and the muscle is what basically moves it. So in order to move that bone, you have to apply force, and the force is the muscle contraction, okay? And you can put as much load on a muscle as the bone and the tissue can handle. So if you're a small person, not very strong, you can't lift up a bus, okay? But if you're a big, hulky guy with big muscles, big tendons, big muscles, big bones, you can probably exert more force and lift more weight. All right, I think I got one more slide, and let's just go back over these and see if we can figure out a few names based on what I've told you so far. And this should help you do your worksheet before you see me in lab. We'll do 2 or 3 of these. The zygomaticus. Okay, what did we learn in the bones? The zygomatic bone, so that one's named based on its location. Okay, the platysma. Platysma. You may have heard of a platypus. A platypus has a flat bill. Platy means flat. It's this flat sheet of muscle underneath the neck, so it's based on its shape. Okay? Intercostals. Costals. We've heard of costals. Costals. Ribs. Ribs. Between. Yeah, the muscles between the ribs. Let's see. Tibialis anterior. So that would be intercostals. That would be location. Tibialis anterior. The tibia, that's a bone, right? Anterior means front, so a muscle in front of the tibia. Location. Gastrocnemius. Gastro means belly, and so this means leg belly. That's where the word gastro means leg belly. So that would be shape. Let's see. Let's do that fiber direction. Obliques. Transversalis, so these obliques, that means the fibers run at an angle. These go like this. The transversalis, they go across. Rectus abdominis, those are straight down the abdomen, so the straight abdominal muscle. Let's look at some on the back. Gluteus maximus and gluteus minimus. So gluteus, the gluteal region, that's your rear end, okay? You got a big one, you got a medium one, and there's actually a minimus that's even deeper to the medius. So you have a gluteus minimus, a gluteus medius, and a gluteus maximus. So those are based on size and gluteal region, location. So they can be named based on more than one thing. Let's see. Let's do one more. Okay, the biceps femoris. Okay, femoris tells us it's something about a femur, so we have location. Biceps, that's that thing about 2 origins. So number of origins. So just as we're going through learning the muscles, just pay attention to how they're named, and it should help you figure out where they are and what they do. That worksheet, that's 20 to 49 muscles that you've got to learn, so you're halfway there. Don't freak out. Everybody does well on muscles, and I will see you in class.